What's up, guys? It's the League Dad, and welcome to another episode of the All In Podcast, a podcast for casual leaguers. We are doing an LCS recap for Week 7, and I am joined by my lovely co-hosts, Kevin, She, and Style Autumn 123. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Yep.
Style, how you doing? You doing all right? All right, so today we're going to go over all the action that happened this past weekend. It's been quite a ride. You know, I think we're starting to see some really big things happening. I think mainly, TL has solidified themselves as the #1 team. I think they already did that last week and even the week before, but now it just seems like that gap is widening. I think what we're also seeing is the rise of CLG. I mean, literally coming out the woodwork. And I think this week was a big week for them because it was kind of that week where they needed to prove themselves and see if they could actually, if they were for real, because I kind of had my doubts. We kind of see Optic starting to fall down, maybe kind of regaining some momentum. So we'll have to see what happens there. But overall, it's been pretty crazy. I think TSM also is always in the picture, but again, it's kind of like, what are they doing? So first thing I wanted to do is kind of go back to some of our picks that we had. Style was on the show. Kevin couldn't make it, unfortunately, but Style was on the show. We had some predictions here. C9 against 100 Thieves. Style, you said C9. I said C9. So that was good. Let's see, who is CLG against Team Liquid. We both said CLG. Team Liquid won that game.
You know what I would have predicted. So
yeah,
Wait, I predicted CLG.
That's what I have for
week.
you. Yeah, I had you as CLG, unless I misquoted you, but yeah.
Maybe.
Optic Echo Fox. We both said Optic. Right about that.
Echo Fox is shit.
Yeah.
And I think those were the only ones that we had differentiate. I think we were pretty good on most of those. But the big winners for this week were Team Liquid, CLG, and Optic. What do you guys think? They all went 2-0. Team Liquid's not like big surprise, right? I mean, they're number
I
one
don't
anyways.
think. Yeah. I don't think TL is winning because they're good. I think this week they just won because the other teams were bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, that means they are good, relatively speaking. But they
Yeah,
didn't do
yeah,
anything
right.
special. They didn't do
Yeah.
anything
Right.
special. They
They
were just easy.
They didn't
games.
play. I think GGS right now is like one of the worst teams in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about them for sure.
Hoopy and FBI. I don't like Hoopy or FBI.
Yeah, we'll go when we get into that segment. I'm gonna go in on them because
I think we need to. Yeah, I think they deserve us going in on them because what the heck?
I mean, it's not like they can go
honestly.
in.
Yeah, it's true. It's
We
true.
can only go int.
Maybe gaggle my coke there. They can only go in. Oh gosh. Okay, so Team Liquid beating Golden Guardians, Clutch Gaming again. Nothing surprising there. Yeah, those teams are not the greatest. So, and Team Liquid is good. You know, I mean, maybe they're not. I don't know how that looks in international stage, but in NA they are top dogs. They've shown that time and time again. I think this is just more of the same. But let's talk more about Optic and CLG. First CLG, because this has been a pretty good rise by them. They are now tied for second, overtaking TSM. And I think that's pretty amazing. I think we had been seeing them win games, you know, and they were moving up the ranks, but we were still a little unconvinced. But I think them beating Cloud9, does this put them in the boat of like, yeah, they're a top 2 or 3 team possibly? What are your thoughts on the CLG rise right now?
I mean, for sure. You saw that game, right? Like, they look solid. It was not like we lucked into this win. They looked like they were just outplaying C9 at every run in terms of team fighting, in terms of rotations. Like, if Wiggly is playing even relatively similar to Svenskar and Sleeson, that's a really good sign because that guy is way newer, so he still has room to grow.
Sven, right?
What was that style?
Sven is known for his Lee Sin.
Yeah, Svenskar and Sleeson.
When he was in U, he was like a Lee Sin one trick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even when he was on TSM and there was like times he was faltering, his Lee Sin was always like, okay, good, he's picking Lee Sin.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Licorice is still looking kind of off. So
Yes,
that's the
I
only
agree
thing
with
I'm
that.
confused about.
I
Like,
mean,
perhaps
I agree with
that could be-
everything there except for the Licorice thing because
Yeah,
he
exactly.
literally solo killed. He solo killed Ruin in the first like 4 minutes playing Malphite. I think the only thing CLG did better, and they did it so well that they could carry their performances completely, was the fact that they used their TPs so intelligently.
Definitely.
Yes.
Their TP usage was pretty amazing. I mean, they had 3 TPs on their team. And it did seem like they worked out really well. What do you guys think of the Sona Tom Kench? We've seen this a couple times, but what do you guys think of that particular comp and how they played it? What do you guys think of that game? I'm particularly talking about the C9 game. So if you were wondering what I was,
in that C9 game, I remember 6A landed like a really sick 3-man Sona ult.
Sona
he was
ult,
like, yeah, that was pretty sick. But honestly, besides that, I don't think them as a lane did anything, and I don't think they had to do anything. Ruin was popping off that game, and I think all they needed to do was like get Sona to a point where she was once she passed level 11 and her ult gives the passive cooldown buff, all she had to do was spam heals and shields for the Corki and the Jace, and then their game plan was basically Wiggly, Flash in, or Predator in, grab one person, pick them up, and then we'll win by sheer force of aura buffs and DPS, which was like it was a very easy to execute comp.
And I think that's the thing. Well. I mean, that's the thing with, I guess, Sona. It's like, you know, she's one of those champs I feel like that you can work into quite a bit of, you know, quite a few comps. Because even, you know, just having Tom Kench in there is still going to be great for team fights, you know, kind of this team death ball, and having Sona and Tom Kench in there, I think really add to that and contribute to that. What are your thoughts on its style?
I think their comp overall was just really, really good because they had the scaling in Sona Tom and Corki, and then they had the early power of Jace.
Yeah.
And I think that just Jace just complemented everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you have an early game champ like that, even though he did die once, got solo killed, I mean, the fact that he was able to take some pressure off allowed Sona and, you know, Tom Kench to kind of scale and get there, so that when team fights happen, I mean, obviously their comp was really good. But are you guys impressed by the way CLG won? I mean, if we look at the final score, they had 11 turrets to 1.
Yeah.
I mean, by all accounts, it seemed like a pretty big victory. I mean, is there anything else that you could take away from this, or, you know, should we not read into this too much? Because I think it looked like a pretty convincing win. But again, or maybe it's just Licorice coming back. What do you guys think? Do you think CLG's for real now?
I think that they're for real in terms of their gameplay. Like, they did everything they needed to do correctly, but that Malphite pick was really a thinker for me. So I don't know. I mean, Malphite, I understand the concept of Malphite, but against a Tom Kench comp, I don't know what you're really expecting to happen there. And even besides that, like, it just looked like Licorice was out of his element. Like, he was down like 80 CS. He had one really sick ult at, I think, Baron it was. And but that's it. Like, he's like that Malphite player you have in solo queue where they only wait for that one giant ult and then they don't do anything else the rest of the game. So
yeah, I mean,
it's easy to look good when one of your opponent's best players is like AFK basically at the wheel.
Sure. I mean, is it at a point though? You know, we all know Licorice can play. He's like one of those players that can play a lot of champs pretty well. But are we at a point, or is Licorice maybe at a point where maybe they should focus on, you know, just a few champs maybe, and kind of narrow that pool and just kind of focus on getting better at those comps? Because yeah, the Malphite pick seemed a little strange. I mean, I never really want to doubt Licorice when they pick some weird, maybe not so normal top laner, because he does have the skill to do that. But, you know, if you're the C9 coach, you know, do you think that this is something that they should probably look to do, or should they just keep trying to throw in these off picks in top lane and see if it'll work for them? What are your thoughts on that? If you had to play coach, what would you do for C9?
If I had to play coach, so typically how I viewed like my players is like, I think it's mentality is the problem. I don't think it's the problem is like the pick variety. Like, I understand what they could be going for, but I think right now Licorice just hasn't had like enough good performances in a while for him to have that confidence of like, hey, I'm that, like, you know, that really swag #1 top laner or whatever. And when he came in, like, he was being touted as like a super good player. So like, you ride that momentum, kind of like how Wild Turtle rode the momentum of his first pentakill when he subbed in for TSM.
Yeah,
and he was like doing so well that split.
Down.
So I think for now, if I was a coach, I'd put Licorice on his favorite like 2-3 champions. I mean, C9 has a lot of people, like Niski plays a fuck ton of characters too, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think you just get Licorice's confidence built back up, then you go back to that variety, because like there's no point in flexing and having like cool picks if you're just gonna lose on all of them.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Style, you got anything to add, or you pretty much agree?
Yeah, I agree. I thought Malphite would as well to that team, but I don't think it was like a Licorice problem. I think it was a team problem. problem, right? Like
Mhm.
a drafting problem more than it was a Licorice problem. I think Licorice can play Malphite, but when he's into a comp like that, what can he really do?
Yeah.
I think they should just put him back on something like an assassin. Like Akali was working, right? I don't know why they took him off Akali.
Yeah. True. Okay. Let's move on to Team Liquid. I mean, is there really anything to say? Do you guys? I mean, we won't spend too much time if we don't need to on Team Liquid because they're just winning. But is there anything you guys want to add on Team Liquid? I wanted to mention them because they did go 2-0 again. They beat Golden Guardians and I believe it was Clutch Gaming. I mean, teams that are not great by any means. So, did you guys have anything to add to Team Liquid, or was there anything you wanted to add to Team Liquid?
No, I don't think there was any need to add anything. All I'm going to say is that they closed out really quickly. It was very clean games for the most part. And so it looks like they're just speed running right now. They have the lowest game time right now, which is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like they, for one thing, they were already good. They seem to be clicking on all cylinders. Their chemistry's rolling. I mean, if we'll look at some stats later, but they're just playing really well. I feel like Xmithy is really playing amazing right now. And so I think, all in all, they're just doing what they do. They're being consistent. I think while at the same time, other teams are still trying to come together as far as, what kind of team are we? What kind of strategies are we doing? I think Team Liquid is just like, we know who we are, we know how we win, and they just do that better and better each time. So I think, for now, it just seems like they're just good and they're just flexing on teams right now. So I don't think there's much to say, but I do want to move on to TSM because this is a team that I think, I'm a TSM fan, and I am a little worried because I've been worried for the past few weeks. They went 1-1 this weekend. Again, they beat Golden Guardians, who has been falling off, so thank goodness they won there. But they lost again to Optic Gaming. They're now 0-2 against Optic this split. What are your thoughts on TSM right now? Where are they in your minds as they rank on the top maybe 5 teams or so? Do you think TSM has a place still in the top 5? I mean, I don't know, honestly. I mean, normally I would say of course, but I don't know. Like, how confident are you guys about TSM?
I mean, I feel like top 5 is like a stretch, right? I think they're definitely in top 5, but when you say something like, when you go from like the best team to like getting from what is it to spring final into what's happening now, that's not a finalist team. That's barely like a top 4 team.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think, I don't think there's like mechanically anything wrong with them. It's just that decision making is really bad. Shot calling is also really bad. Drafting is okay because if you look at their comps, it's not that bad. But it's just that they don't know what to do mid game.
Yeah, I think you're right because even in the games that they're ahead early, it always seems like you're kind of just bracing yourself. For me as a fan, I'm bracing myself and hoping they don't throw. Because it's very, it seems like more often than not that happens. But look how bad they got stomped against Optic. Yeah. They didn't get one turret, guys. Not one turret.
They didn't do anything.
I think Optic played really well this week.
Okay.
Played really well, but Zen got solo killed by Arrow and Big. Or I guess duo killed.
Okay, yeah, but I've been saying replace Ven for like weeks now.
This is
true.
This is true.
And that's kind of hard because Fen, is supposed to be that top tier player, and right now he's looking pretty doo-doo.
It's not that he's a bad player; it's that he doesn't know when to back off. That's my main problem with him.
This is
like,
true.
Even if you die one time in lane, that's not going to change the game, right? You can get solo killed and still win the game. But if you watch like the game, there's like one. I remember one specific play, like mid game. I would say like around 20-ish minutes, where he just caught in like in the jungle. And it's not the first time you see something like that, right? You saw it in spring finals. You saw it last week against, what was it? I don't know exactly who it was against, but he literally goes in for that extra auto and he dies. And when he's playing Sivir, I get getting caught out on like champs like Caitlyn, right? But Sivir literally has her ult, has her spell shield. Ezreal has an arcane shift, but you're still getting caught out somehow. And it's not that he's getting caught out, it's how he's getting caught out.
It's true. I mean, he's playing pretty safe champs. I mean, he's not playing champs that need to be up front. So it is kind of confusing and frustrating that he is getting caught out like
I
he
mean, he's
is.
playing Sivir and Ezreal. Like,
Yeah,
it should.
I
exactly.
There
don't
aren't
think
really
it's like a
much space
playing
for
problem. I think
AD
it's like an ego problem. Like he
carries.
he thinks he's unkillable. Like
Yeah,
literally, if you are like but that was one of the reasons why he excelled in EU. So I can see
yeah,
why he's doing it. Like when he
gotcha.
played Callista, when he was on OG, he literally like used to walk out for auto attacks, and
Yeah,
they used to win because of that. But
yeah,
now you're playing a different style of play,
yeah,
right? You're not the
yep,
star of the team.
exactly.
Well,
Yeah, it's
the
a
thing
good
is,
point.
they gave him like 356 CS at 31 minutes that game.
Yeah,
He died 4 times. So like,
yeah,
it's not like he's not the star. Or he can't play like a star. The resources are being thrown at him. He just keeps dying, and like
yep.
not even that. Like the whole team, other than Bjergsen in that game, I really don't know what's going on. Acadian was playing scared. Like you saw Meteos just like styling on him with his
Mm-hmm,
early game,
mm-hmm.
early and mid game jungle pathing.
Yeah.
Dokla popped like the elephant in the room. Dokla popped off this
Dokla
game.
was
Like
5-0
he
too. This is
he
Dokla,
smacked
y'all.
Broken Blade
Come
up
Yeah,
there.
on.
Like
but
I'm
Doka played
sorry.
well the day before as well,
Yeah,
right?
no, I know this
Yeah,
weekend in general. Like we didn't talk about the first game that much because it wasn't really worth
yeah,
talking about. But like Dokla's
right.
been playing well on Aatrox at least, which like
Yeah,
is a top tier pick. Well, the new patch isn't live, so I don't know if they'll still pick it. But I actually, this isn't a patch note discussion. I actually think new Aatrox is still fairly good. So
mm, yeah,
either
Yeah.
yeah.
way, Dokla is looking good. Like he's solo killing. Like okay, Lorelo doesn't matter, but Broken Blade, he didn't solo kill, but he was just like smacking him around. Or did he
Yeah,
solo kill him? Or is it just
uh,
assisted? Either way, he's
yeah.
looking good. So like, I mean, I don't expect it to last, and I think it's a one champ thing because Aatrox is hilariously strong, and people just people don't care about Dokla, so I guess they didn't care that he would get it.
That's true.
Okay. But one thing we missed out though is Optic. What is it? Crown playing Victor, and Crown's Victor is like
Oh,
it used to be the best Victor in the world, right? He
Hmm.
played this. He played this against Faker and beat him. He played this against Bjergsen and beat him.
he
So
played this against Double F and beat him.
Yeah,
that was his champ when he won with Samsung Galaxy, right?
yeah.
So I don't. I think yeah, Doko's playing really well because he's like a fairly new player, but you can't take
Hmm.
away credit from Crown, who's just playing insanely well. I think he's like
Yeah,
the best player on that team right now.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I have to agree with you. You know, Crown is really amazing. He's been amazing all split. You know, all split. You know, maybe a couple of
Even
games, maybe
before
not
the
so well.
split, like
Yeah,
literally, this isn't even Crown at his peak. Imagine playing against Crown at his peak.
yeah, yeah.
He's
Yeah,
doing
so for
real.
those of you who are watching, I can't really make the charts bigger just because otherwise it won't. Well, maybe I can. There you go. Well, that looks good. Otherwise, you won't fit much stuff in there. But yeah, I mean, going back to the discussion, it's like with, you know, this is either if Dokla your weak point, then you play around that. So him playing something like Aatrox or Poppy, then you know, that's what they got to do because that's what they need to do to win, right? And so I think that that's smart on their part. Maybe not as smart on TSM's part for letting Aatrox go through. I don't know if, you know, some of the other bands could have been replaced with that, but you know, either way, it was a good win for Optic. I think if they can continue to do what they do, maybe play around or minimize weaknesses with Dokla, play around Crown and Meteos, then they'll be fine. But
I think,
yeah, go ahead, Style.
yeah, I think next week is gonna be like a really good patch. I don't know if we're gonna talk about this later, but
Yeah.
like it's gonna be a really good patch with so many different unique picks. Like I can tell like on the back of my head, I know at least like 4 new picks we might.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to like looking forward and looking ahead to next week's. But yeah, for now, so I think there's a good point in the chat and Twitch chat right now is you know, who do you see as the top 3 teams then? We try to do this every week, kind of like obviously TL's 1.
Right.
C9 still looks like they probably got number 2, or maybe. Well, it's up to you guys what do you think. But who's your top 3 other than Team Liquid? Is it still TSM? I mean, is it CLG? Is it Optic? Who do you guys have as your top 3? Let's say 2 and 3, because I'm pretty sure Team Liquid will finish first here. So who's your 2 and 3?
Why don't we just do 2, 3, and 4 then, so we can pick
Yeah.
3.
Okay.
Anyway.
2, 3,
I'm
and
fine
4.
with
Let's
that.
do that. So whoever wants to jump in there, I know that's you got to think about it a little bit. So
I mean, I don't
So
have to think about it. I think it's
Okay,
C9
Kevin.
CLG Optic. TSM's 5th
Okay.
place right now. It's just
Woo, okay.
they jungler can't jungle currently. He's less confident now that he's the permanent member,
Mhm.
and BB's not online, Sven is inting, and Smoothie's like non-existent. He's not doing bad. I just don't know what he's doing. I just don't see him doing anything
Yeah.
in games. So it's hard. You look at all those pieces. You only have Bjergsen. You can't justify them being any better than Optic, especially because they've been 2-0 by Optic.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And they lost to CLG too.
And the thing is like, well, this has nothing to do with it, but I believe Smoothie was like close to being rank 1 in solo queue. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, I think at some point he was, because he was tweeting. He was like going for rank 1 today, and he was like rank 2 at the moment. I don't know if that's even the case anymore, but
that's very relevant though, because you see,
it's not relevant.
Like the Misfits sub mid laner was rank 1 for like 2 weeks. And you see him on stage and he's like 0-5.
0. Yeah, again, it means nothing, but I just thought that was interesting considering that, hey, he, where is he at this moment? He's not really doing anything. But Style, do you agree with Kevin here, or do you have different rankings?
So one of the things is, do you mean like from this week, what do I think it'll end up in the standings, or how do I think, or who do I think the top 3 teams were from this week?
No, I would say like from standing in general, like who finishes based on what we've seen up to this point.
I would put, what is it? I would put C9 as my second still.
Okay.
Then I'll put CLG, and then I'd put Optic or 100 Thieves. I can't let my 100 Thieves.
He's holding on to his 100 Thieves pick, y'all.
Ooh, wow.
This man is a 100 Thieves fan. I mean,
I'm telling you, the only team they lost to was C9, and then even that was a close game.
Okay.
Well, they're gonna lose to Liquid, but.
Yeah, but that's Liquid, right?
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's why we do this. We want to see, what you guys are thinking as far as that. And we've kind of hit the top half here. Is there anything? I think maybe we just go to. We'll start with Golden Guardians. We'll talk about the lower half now. So we'll start with Golden Guardians because honestly, what is happening? I think I believe they made a trade too. Didn't they trade Deftly and they got.
Put FBI in for Deftly, and because the FBI is an import, they had to replace. They had to throw in Huhi.
But who is it? Somebody got Keith. They traded somebody to get Keith. I don't know if it was Deathly or somebody.
They traded who?
One of the AD carries was traded for Keith. I don't think it was. Was it?
Wait, Keith isn't in C9. Yes, he isn't.
No, he got
Keith
traded.
He got traded.
He got traded
like a week ago or within the last week.
Yeah.
I don't think it was GGS though. It might have been, but they already have FBI. It was I'll look it up while we talk.
Okay. Yeah. So while you're looking it up, let's talk about Golden Guardians here. Again, a lot of weird things happening here. FBI and Huhi going to the bot lane, replacing Deftly and Olay. Honestly, I don't know why they did this because I don't think they were doing that bad. I think
Guardians,
yeah. See, and then first of all replacing them, and then all of a sudden trading Deftly and getting Keith. It's like, what is on the minds of Golden Guardians right now? I obviously we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but in my opinion, and you guys can agree or add to this, but I feel like when they subbed out Deftly and Olay, like I feel like they weren't doing that bad. I honestly thought that they could still make a run to the top 5. I thought there were just minor adjustments they needed to make. I felt Froggen was playing well. I felt that Hanser was playing well. What are your guys' thoughts though? Into kind of what Golden Guardians, or do you have any theories as to why they've made these drastic changes? Seems like overreaction changes to maybe some small misperformances. What are your thoughts on them?
I think they pulled the CLG. Last season, CLG did the same exact thing. They replaced too many players when they were like in a good spot, and then they just broke underneath the playoffs line. I think what they were saying is like they knew they were going to hit playoffs, or they thought they were with their current roster, but they knew their clear weakness was definitely Ole. And they wanted to push for top 3. They want to go to Worlds because there's no point. You get playoffs, but you're not going to Worlds. What are you doing?
Yeah, what's
so
the
they
point?
took a risk. FBI looked okay at MSI, to be fair, and I don't think he's very good. So I don't know what he's doing there, but they threw him in with them. And the problem is that FBI hasn't played on the LCS stage, so they couldn't predict that he would perform this poorly. I think he looked okay in Academy, but I don't watch that much of their Academy games, to be fair. So I think this is like the right risk to take. Like if I were a coach, I would do it too. Even though knowing the results now, I would probably be upset about it. But like there's no point in settling for 5th place or 4th place like Echo Fox was getting in previous splits. Like you need to go for Worlds, or what are you doing as an org?
Yeah. I mean, I guess Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Style, do you have anything to add about that?
I don't completely agree with that. I still think Ole is like a good player. I think
Mhm.
he's
That's what
just
I think. Yeah.
I think he's just lacking communication. And I
Yeah.
don't think that's something where you can say, "Oh, you go play an academy, we'll get a new thing." That's not going to solve anything. Who he's
Mhm.
just a new player, right? He's new
Yeah.
to support. He
Right.
hasn't played support before. So
Yeah.
you're
Right.
telling me you're going to choose someone who hasn't played before, who hasn't played support before, other
Mhm.
than Ole, who's literally like I would say used to be one of the best supports in the whole
He was
league.
ranked one. He was
Yeah,
ranked
he
one
was
for
ranked one.
a while. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
He was like MVP material. The thing
Hmm.
is, I agree with you. Actually, I didn't clarify, but like I think that he should be playing with Huhi just because they played together in academy. But I think they should put Ole in once that they have enough practice together for the synergy. Because if you just sub them in, this is like their second week or first week playing together.
Hmm.
So like I think that's way too quick of a shock. But like I would have to assume that they're practicing with Ole and FBI right now in their scrims. Because if they're not, they're trolling.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
I
agree.
don't even know why they swapped. Like I thought Deftly and Ole were doing fine. Maybe they weren't winning
That's my
every
thoughts.
game,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they were doing okay. They
But
weren't like hard
do you think
hitting. They
that
were
they would
winning
have
enough
the
games.
ability to win the gauntlet with definitely Ole?
I think with Deftly Ole, they just had to survive, right? Because players like Froggen, they're gonna 1v9, right?
Mm.
Most
True.
games. Maybe not like top two, but definitely I think it's possible for them to get top three. Because now you're putting Froggen in a spot where they're like the TSM, right?
Mm.
They're putting way too much pressure on Bjergsen. That's what TSM does. And now the same thing has happened to Froggen. They're putting way too much pressure on Froggen. And
Yeah.
Froggen isn't Bjergsen material. He's not as world class as Bjergsen
Sure.
is. So you put that much pressure on him, he's not going to be able to like turn it around that fast. But the thing is, Bjergsen has a better rounded team than I think GGS does without Ole and um, Deftly. Even though Deftly wasn't great, I think the solution for this now that they've already done the switching thing, put Ole and Keith.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, why?
I
I mean,
think
why
that's
else? Why
like
did they trade
really
for him? Yeah.
saving grace.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't see why else they would make that move.
Exactly. Why would they? Why would they make the trade? So, yeah,
Because you're
interesting. Because
sacrificing the definitely Ole synergy already, so
sure.
you have to be looking for an LCS replacement, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think again, it looks like all the Golden State teams are making some big moves. If y'all know what I'm talking about, NBA fans here, we
Yeah,
know the big exit of Kevin Durant. Maybe as an org, they're just like, you know what, we'll just trade away. We'll just make some weird decisions. We'll make weird decisions this offseason or whatever. Anyways, so
Strange world we live in.
Golden Guardians is just kind of in a funk. They got these big question marks. I don't really know what's happening there, but we'll have to wait and see. I think at this point, I don't think they're bottom two because the bottom two teams are just really bad, and I don't think they're going to be out of that hole. But let's talk about 100 Thieves
I would
because
put them in bottom.
you would put them in bottom two.
Yeah, because I think FlyQuest is good
Uh,
now. Maybe not
oh,
bottom two. Maybe like no bottom one, because that's Echo Fox, and Echo Fox
yes.
is way below everyone else. But I think FlyQuest can definitely
Okay,
beat
I
the GTS
think
right now.
okay, I don't know because I was on the FlyQuest trains last week where I was like, I think this is a good team still on paper. I think they can actually do something, but after watching last week, I don't know if I believe that anymore. But let's talk about 100 Thieves first. They did lose to Cloud9, close game, and then they beat, like I said, the crappy FlyQuest team. So they are, I feel like, in my opinion, they have kind of distinguished themselves that they are no longer the bottom of the barrel. And if you go on the other extreme end, Style has these guys possibly going fourth place. I want to hear your rationale for this, Style. Why do you have 100 Thieves in such high
It's just
regards
a
here?
well-rounded team. Like it's amazing played well. Even though they didn't win against C9, they played well early. The only reason they started losing is because Niski probably played the best game of LCS he's ever played for C9.
Okay, all right.
Okay, like you can't predict Niski playing that well because like especially near the end of the game where they try to gank him and he just like flashes out, lands this huge stun and kills Afromu, and it's just like how do you even counter that? It's not 100 Thieves playing badly. It's um it's just Niski like outplaying everyone. It's just like
Right.
mechanical brilliance.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're
And I
saying
think that yeah.
so you're saying that despite like it barring any amazing mechanical performances, you think that team wise that they're playing pretty well and that they can take on a lot of these
Okay,
teams.
but you have to remember again, right? C9, even though they beat 100 Thieves, they're a
Mhm.
top two. They're top, definitely a second place for me.
Sure. Okay.
Either second or third.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Okay.
when 100 Thieves plays like some of the better teams, we'll have like a better idea, as in whether they're just gonna beat the bottom of the barrel teams, or they're just gonna, or they can actually stand up to the better teams in the league, right? So
Yeah.
if they can stand up to teams like TSM, teams like CLG, I really want to see 100 Thieves versus CLG, because I think I think CLG's bot lane is really good, and I think 100 Thieves bot lane is really good, and I think CLG's jungler is really good, and I think 100 Thieves jungler.
Yeah. What about you, Kevin? Do you agree with Style? I mean, I know you didn't put him in like top 4 status, but I mean, what are your thoughts on them? Do you think I mean, against these kind of middle of the pack teams, how do you think 100 Thieves fares? Like I'm talking about CLG, TSM, Optic. How do you think 100 Thieves fares against these guys? I guess in comparison.
So I was pretty hot on 100 Thieves 2 weeks ago when I last showed up on the show.
Mm-hmm.
After watching them play the last 2 weeks, I think they're legit. I think that they should be playoffs at least.
Mm-hmm.
I currently have them vying with TSM for 5th, which is pretty interesting. But the only thing that's worrying is that they started 0-5, so like their probability of getting to playoffs with the strength of the schedule remaining is tough. 100 Thieves has to play against Optic, Golden Guardians, TSM, and I don't remember who the other team was, but they had to play against a lot of really tough teams, and so I would say that they should do fine, but or not, yeah, they have to play against Golden Guardians and TSM next week, and I only see them beating Golden Guardians as a lock, and then against TSM, I think that TSM's still favored, but barely. Like the skill on 100 Thieves is there. Like Bang is good, Amazing's playing great. Ryu actually popped off in his game, so like
Rio's
I don't understand what he's been doing since he was coaching before, but he's playing well.
I know, right? What's it?
I think 100 Thieves is good. They're on the up and up, and TSM's on the slight downturn. So like,
maybe the momentum
next week's
has
gonna
changed.
decide their fates. So I think 100 Thieves is legit. I think that they have the skill there. They have the veteranship too. So like, it's not like other than Fake God. I don't know what the hell's gonna happen with that guy. He might blow up. He might do really well. But so far they're faking it at least, and they might make it.
Okay. Good to know. Do we need to talk about the bottom two, Echo Fox or Clutch even? I mean, Clutch is right there tied too, but I mean, I don't really know what to say about Clutch.
Echo Fox can't make playoffs. I think they're literally out of contention right now. Even if they win
Echo Fox. I mean, what about FlyQuest? Because you mentioned a little bit. Style thinks that they're really good. I was on that train.
I don't think they're really good, but I think
no. I know. I mean, I think on paper, they look like they should at least be a middle of the pack team. But for whatever reason, I mean, I don't know. I feel like on paper they have a solid team, but they're just not executing well. Kevin, do you think their record is really warranted? Do you think they're that bad of a team, or do you think this is just as far as chemistry issues? Or
their record is a shame. It's a real tragedy. They have way too much talent on that team that's misplaced. They need it. These players literally need to all split up and go to other teams where they'll fit in. Viper's been playing better. Santorin's a great jungler still. Hobelter would be so useful for a lot of the teams in the upper half or the upper 5-6 teams to have. I have no clue how this team isn't like at least in the clutch. This team should be in clutch gaming's position right now, 6-8, not 4-10. I have no clue what happened to them because they don't look like they fight each other or anything. Maybe that's why they're just not improving because they aren't able to give each other criticism. Like they're all just too passive as people. But I don't know. That's the impression I get. They seem very friendly, but it looks like this just like when you're playing with your friends and you guys just stagnate together because no one's criticizing each other that much.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Again, like I said, I think FlyQuest is good on paper. I've been secretly rooting for them. I think that, I thought they should be at least middle of the pack, like I said, but I don't know for whatever reason they haven't been getting it executed. So we'll have to see with them. All right, let's move on to looking forward to next week, week 8. We are getting towards the end here, so games are going to be very important. In fact, I think for me, obviously the highlight game for me is Team Liquid against Cloud9. What are you guys thoughts heading into this? Do you think Team Liquid has it locked? I mean, for me, at least as far as consistency, as far as like this team looks like they have a firm grasp of who they are, how to win. I think it's not even close. I think Team Liquid wins this. I'm not saying Cloud9's a bad team. I just think that they're more unshaky, like uncertain. And whereas Team Liquid seems to just have found themselves and have been this way for a while. The Xmithy to me is like just broke. And if in fact last week, even Impact had top KDA, had a 10.5 KDA, the highest KDA for of all top. So Impact is even playing well. And so I just think this team is clicking well. And you know, when you're winning and you have this strategy down, I think it also kind of helps their players play better. So for me, at least, I think this is a big 100% win for Team Liquid. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this matchup, and what do you think we'll see heading into it?
Liquid's gonna win. It's very hard. If your best player on C9's doing worse than Impact, that's a big problem. That's a huge problem, because in the past, C9 could at least challenge Liquid to close series, as long as, you know, like Chris just drawing pressure up there. Then Xmithy is a lot more predictable, right? Because you know where you have to camp. Impact is just playing really well right now. Like, unless Licorice styles on Impact in the game, and even with that, I don't think that the current form of Sneaky is going to be enough. And as for jungle, Sense are still playing fine, but I think Xmithy's better. So it's just like down the board, especially with their current form, there just should be no reason C9 should win unless Team Liquid decides to troll the draft, which they haven't been doing recently.
Okay. What about you, Style? Do you have anything different?
I'm gonna say that if C9 plays well, they can win.
Okay.
That doesn't. What is that? If any team plays well,
I mean, not like
if I play
well, but like if they draft well.
Okay.
Like if they draft well.
Well, in terms of
mechanics, I think C9 is better than TL, except in the bot lane.
Really?
Yeah, I think Nisqy is miles. Yeah, I think Nisqy is miles better than Jensen. I think Jensen is just overrated unless you get something like Azir.
All right. I'm gonna look at some stats real quick. Keep talking.
I mean, to be fair, stats are gonna be boosted because Liquid's
but stats don't really matter when you're comparing teams, right? But if you look,
no, I'm looking at personal stats.
Even if you look at personal stats, right? If you're on a better team, you're gonna be doing better.
Well, it's weird though. Like, if these players are worse mechanically, how do they just keep showing up on better teams? I don't know.
Hey, well, interesting. Let me pause right there, because the top two mid laners right now over the entire split are Jensen and Nisqy. Surprisingly.
Okay, so if you ignore win rate, you can't look at win rate because the team is just better as a whole. So ignoring win rate, everything is really close, right?
KDA average kills. Yep, you're right. Everything is exactly close.
So
only Nisqy has more assists.
Nisqy has higher assists and higher kills. And the only thing he has is like 0.2 more death.
All right, I think Style may have a point just as far as looking at the stats real quick. I mean, obviously,
if we're just ignoring the team, I think Nisqy is better than Jensen. I think Licorice in his prime is better than Impact in his prime.
Right, I agree with that.
I think Xmithy is better than
Let's take a look at top. Let's take a look at top.
That's for sure. Yeah, like miles better. And I think
because you said other than the bot lane, so I was like, I would at least argue Smithy is definitely better.
Smithy's I didn't really take into account.
The soul lanes for C9 are better. I can at least accept that as a fair argument.
Okay, well, if you look at the stats for Impact and Licorice, obviously Impact has more games because Licorice is out for a little bit. KDA is pretty much even. Average kills, though, Licorice still has a slight advantage, but average deaths, about the same. Assist goes a little higher for Impact, but they're pretty right on the money. And if anything, they're top 1 and 2, so they're right there. I mean, obviously the one in rank 1 and 2.
I can see why the assists are higher on Impact though, because he doesn't play assassins, right? And he's all about his like team play, right? Things like gangplank. So Impact is basically known for his TP, right? Whereas Licorice is known for his like split push comp type team. He played like so many games of Akali where he didn't even teleport; he kept pushing top lane. So in terms of assists, I can see the difference. But everything else, I think Xmithy is miles better than Svenskeren. I think I think Sneaky and Doublelift, there isn't that much of a disparity, but Doublelift is better. But I wouldn't say it's like miles of a difference because
The
Sneaky
problem is
is
Core
pretty
JJ is
experienced.
so much better that it's just it's a problem.
Yeah, Core
Yeah,
JJ
I agree.
is absolutely amazing.
His recon play was so insane last weekend. It was
Oh yeah,
beautiful.
it was really good. In fact,
Oh
I
my
think
God.
he may have had the highest KDA of all of last week, just because he was so.
Really?
Yeah,
He's
Core
literally a
JJ.
world champion though.
He had
And
a
you're comparing him
29.
to like
He
Zazel.
had a 29 KDA last week.
Okay. Yeah, his
Yeah.
recon made me forget they nerfed recon's alt engage timing. I was like,
Yeah,
what
it
the
was.
hell?
It was
It looked like
pretty.
it didn't even happen.
I'm telling you,
Pretty
watch.
impressive.
This time next week, we'll be talking about how C9 beat TL.
I mean,
Oh.
and it's possible, but like at the end of the day, Team Liquid would always beat C9 in a best of 5, so it doesn't matter to me, even if they win one game.
I have to agree. I mean, it's really close again. I mean, I think you can make the argument for both. Smithy, though, I think in the jungle has been really impressive. I mean, he's first as far as KDA goes. He's got a 6.1 KDA over the entire split, with Svenskeren at 4 KDA, which, you know, their win rates are the same. I mean, his win rates are the
because he has
same.
4 games. That doesn't.
Yeah, I mean,
100% win rate.
Grig that's negligent. Meteos, we're not talking about him right now, but I mean, just comparing the two, you know, it does look like Xmithy's got a lot more participation in there, a lot more impact. But Svenskeren, doesn't mean Svenskeren's not good. So it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
If
I think this is
Svenskeren out jungles Xmithy, then it's over. Like, just FF.
And that's what I'm wondering, because I think for me, Xmithy has been on a tear. To me, he's we talked about MVPs not too long ago, and I know I have a jungle bias because I like the jungle, but for me, Xmithy is one of those constants who I think has just been performing pretty well.
The weirdest part about Xmithy is it's very notorious that he doesn't try. He doesn't practice that much. So like I've always thought like this guy just like sits down and practices, like grinds. What's gonna happen?
Yep. Well, I have
don't
seen him when he
understand.
played. I have seen him play. Like, he actually streamed for a little bit. I mentioned this last week. And when I was watching him play, this dude is amazing in solo queue. Like, he is so good. So, I mean, I don't know. For whatever reason,
it's almost like he's good at the game.
Yeah, it's like it just comes naturally to him. I don't know. But it would be amazing if he, like, applied himself, I think.
I don't think
anyways,
he needs to at this point, right? Because he's been playing for so long.
You're right.
He's been playing for so long.
Yeah.
So I think at this point it just comes naturally. But back then he used to practice a lot. If you watched him like before,
especially there was a period of time where he was like considered washed up when he was out of xd.gg/Vulcan.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyways, yeah, that's enough about Liquid. I could go on. I could do a podcast on Liquid. You know.
Okay,
me.
so if we just make the votes right now, I think me and Kevin have both said Team Liquid. Style, you were kind of wishy-washy. Are you saying C9? Cast your vote, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna say C9.
All right, so there it is. Mark it down for next week. We'll revisit that. That's going to be our bold prediction of the week. I think Styles. You know, I honestly don't think that. You know, Style has good arguments. I think you've made good points there. Some of the other matches that I'm interested in seeing, and you guys can chime in here too, but I'm interested to see. So CLG has a pretty easy schedule. So that means if they go 2-0 and theoretically Team Liquid beats C9, you know, this is going to bode well even more for CLG. CLG plays Clutch Gaming, and then they play FlyQuest, who, excuse me, not Echo Fox. So they should win those 2 games. Theoretically, what are your guys' thoughts on CLG? Or, I mean, I think this is really a good week for them to even propel themselves even more.
I mean, it shouldn't be a question. They should stop both.
Right.
I mean, Clutch might have a chance. Like, Clutch is still like, we keep sleeping on them in the sense of like they keep doing pretty well actually.
Yeah.
But, I think Clutch is literally the definition of a 6th place team. There's no reason for them to get any more than that, and there's no reason they should threaten CLG unless Wiggly like breaks his arm or something.
Okay, you got any thoughts on that, Style? Pretty on the same boat there.
I think the only like lane where they win is top lane. But apart from the game.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when who needs always a very weird question mark. It's like if he shows up, they will be good.
Yeah, I don't know. I
think even if he shows up, they won't win. I don't like DeMonte as a player unless he gets Kiana.
But I think it's because it's Kiana, not DeMonte.
Yeah.
Even the way DeMonte played was, I wouldn't say amazing, but it wasn't like his, like it wasn't like what he normally plays like.
Right.
Like I hate DeMonte as a player. I don't think he's good.
So non-existent. Like he doesn't end, which is good, I guess, but it just feels like his pressure is
He
almost
just
non-existent.
exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
He's like that guy you just throw as Phil mid lane when you're playing flex with your friends and two people are playing the same role.
no. This is when you get autofilled mid and then just lock in Malzahar.
Heck yeah. That's my type of play. All right, well, let's go on to let's see here. So you guys can throw in anything that you're interested to see too, but for me, I'm also looking at the Clutch's matchups as well as 100 Thieves' matchups, because they're tied right now, right? And so we're trying to see if 100 Thieves will climb, but they have a tough matchup. Well, tougher, I guess, because they're playing TSM, whereas Clutch is playing
That's a
CLG.
tough matchup.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that. But Clutch is playing CLG and they are playing FlyQuest. So theoretically, I mean, it could go. I don't know. That to me, that's just interesting.
FlyQuest
Do you
is
guys
gonna be clutch. Mark my words.
And I mean, if they do, then I mean, I don't know. Are you guys? I mean, are you guys thinking? I guess the question is, who do you think is going to come out on top out of the standings this week, or did they end up tied? Do you think Clutch or 100 Thieves? Or do you think they just both go 1-1?
I mean, do you really have to ask me at this point?
Well, okay, we don't ask Style because we know that he's going for 100 Thieves. Kevin, are you in the same boat, or what do you think?
100 Thieves should go 1-1. I still think TSM is still better, and unless they prove otherwise, but 100 Thieves should go 1-1. So,
yep.
As strange as it sounds, they'll probably still be tied with Clutch at the end of this week because Clutch should be 5+.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah, that's what
what
I'm
is
thinking.
it? I also think 100 Thieves will be 1-1, but I think Clutch is gonna be 0-2. Watch.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
You think
really?
they're going to? Okay,
Okay.
gotcha.
I thought we were okay. I see. I got it. I thought you
Okay.
were saying they were gonna go 2-0.
No.
I'm not sure about the TSM. I'm not gonna say like TSM's gonna win because I know TSM's gonna find a way to ruin it.
Yeah.
And I have personal bias when it comes to TSM anyway. So
Yeah.
if I pick TSM, I mean, if I pick 100 Thieves, and then I'm just gonna want TSM to win, but I know I want 100 Thieves to win as well.
Oh, sure.
Of
course.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
there...
FlyQuest is gonna beat Clutch though.
You think FlyQuest is gonna be Clutch? Yeah. I don't like. I'm not like, oh, that's so crazy of prediction. I mean, I think that could happen. I still, like I said, I still think FlyQuest has a good team. I just don't think they're gonna do anything. Yeah,
they just can't make playoffs, right?
No,
Even
they're not gonna make
everything,
playoffs.
They
exactly.
can only inch off of 6. I think they get a gauntlet spot because of their placement last split.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, I think FlyQuest is a good team. Maybe they do something and get better for next split, but I just don't think, as far as this split, I don't think they're going to be doing much of anything. But okay, so as we wrap it up, is there anything that you guys want to throw in there? Any bold statements or predictions that we can record here so that we can revisit next show and see if you're a prophet or if you're an idiot? Prophet or idiot? Anything? Would you say some style? Would you say?
I'm pretty sure I've made some already, like
you have
not normal.
We'll
picks,
just revisit
like
this. Yeah.
C9 bidding TL.
Yep.
What is it? Poppy getting picked.
By who?
It doesn't matter. I think she's gonna be picked a lot.
Okay.
I think
Dokka's
picking
Yeah,
They're gonna
Dokka.
ban his Aatrox next week. If it's not on the new patch where Aatrox got changed, they're gonna ban Aatrox and give him Poppy.
Poppy's like insane now, and it's a really good pick into Aatrox as well.
Yeah.
I think we'll see some Lux mid, but we won't see any Lux support. Thank God for that.
No Lux support. Yeah, I think I can agree with that. Kevin, do you got any bold statements or predictions?
You might see some Swain actually.
This is probably the most boring week in terms of like upset potential. Like there's some interesting matches, but I just can't see any team winning except maybe C9 being Team Liquid. But I wouldn't predict it. Never.
Yeah.
Not over my grave.
Yeah, but you have to realize Optic is also playing TL. I think that's going to be a good game. Chances are TL will be Optic, but I think Optic has looked really good.
Yeah,
they looked amazing.
It'll be a good game. Like there's some really good matchups. Like Team Liquid's 2 matches against Optic and C9 should both be really interesting to watch. I still don't see them beating them.
Yeah.
They can do it. I wouldn't be surprised, but it's like a 60-40.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one. I mean, it's a tough matchup if you're playing Team Liquid anyways. I mean, it's just that they're a good team. So, I mean, we'll have to see what happens. But is there any final things y'all want to add before we wrap it up? I think we've covered just about everything as far as LCS goes. If you guys have any questions, again, you guys feel free to email us at the allinpodcast@gmail.com. Tweet us at the allinpodcast. But until next time, guys, enjoy your climb or enjoy TFT. Try not to get too toxic. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.